Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think I'll start with something that we've worked hard on over the years, and that's pool safety. This is something that we got done back in 2007 to direct the CPSC to launch pool safety campaign. We actually changed the law so that the drains would have to be changed out. And as a result, a former chair came and spoke here and talked about how there had been no kids that died over about a 5-8 year period, which was incredible. So I guess I'd start with you, Mr. Hohenserek. Will you continue that? And do you know what the latest data is about if kids have died? And if you don't, could you get it for me?
Senator, thank you for the question. Yes, I would commit to, if confirmed, focusing on a pool safety, continued pool safety. Not sure the latest data. I know the CDC put out data recently showing that, high, especially for children under 5, the rates of drowning, excuse me, are high, especially in, certain communities of colors. And Native Americans suffer unintentional drowning rates to twice the rate of white population does. African Americans about 1.5% times the amount. So if confirmed, I would both prioritize pool safety, but also I'd like to understand how it's affecting different vulnerable communities and be able to see how best to reach out to them.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Trumka, I enjoyed our talk yesterday. Thank you. In your testimony, you note that you've conducted a number of investigations on the House Oversight Committee on economic and consumer policy. And I know that one of the things that we have worked on is the baby food issue over there. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and the report that you worked on and what you think needs to be done?
Thank you, Senator, and I also appreciated our talk yesterday, and I want to thank you for your leadership on baby foods. I think your support and introducing the Baby Food Safety Act in the Senate was critical in getting the FDA to act. The report found that there were very high levels of toxic heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury in baby foods, and that companies had known about this for some time, and there was really not a whole lot being done. There were no standards at FDA, and so left to self-regulation, there was a lot of problems on the market, and it was leading to infant neurological development problems. And at the same time, the testing mechanisms that the companies were employing were really inadequate, and we continue to see that. Instead of testing their finished products, they're testing the ingredients, which has been undercounting, even internally undercounting the amount of metals in their products. And so I think it's very important for FDA to act. They've created the Closer to Zero program, as you know. You were instrumental in making that happen. They're going to be reducing the levels of these metals over time. I think they need to speed up their timelines a good bit. They've given themselves a pretty long horizon, and I think they need to mandate ingredient testing now. Okay,
very good, thank you. I think you mentioned this, Ms. Boyle, the e-commerce enforcement earlier. And earlier this month, the CPSC filed suit against Amazon to recall hazardous products sold on Amazon.com, including 24,000 defective carbon monoxide detectors. I've worked on the carbon monoxide issue over the years. We've had a number of children, others die, and nearly 400,000 hair dryers sold without the required devices that protect against electrocution. In 2020, online sales represented more than 21% of total retail sales for the year, up 44% from 2019. And do you think the CPSC is ready to handle this?
Thank you for that question, Senator. Obviously, there's litigation pending, so I don't want to speak specifically to that. And I do think the agency needs to use all of its authorities to address the issues that arise from e-commerce platforms, not just this one that you mentioned. And I am hopeful that we will be able to use those authorities effectively, but I look forward to working with this committee to the extent that we need additional authorities to do so, to do our job effectively.
Yeah, because my experience taking on these platforms is not easy, and it's hard to find allies, so please let me know. Last question for you, and last question I'll ask. Following the increase in reports that pediatricians and emergency room doctors had seen an increase in patients seeking treatment for home injuries, we introduced the COVID-19 Home Safety Act to require the CPSC to launch a study on injuries and deaths caused by consumer products. I know that you worked on a report back in March, I think, that found that hospital emergency room treatment for some product-related injuries rose during the pandemic. Could you talk about how that would be helpful for us going forward and into the future?
Thank you for that question, Senator. Yes, we did a study because as everybody was at home, the incidents had shifted. So it used to be many sports-related injuries, particularly during the school year, and those plummeted. At the same time, there were injuries related to bicycle helmets and bicycles and home injuries. And so being able to pinpoint through our data what the trends in injuries are is significant to what we do. And so to the extent that we can improve our data analytics abilities, that's something that I would continue to prioritize, because being able to look at the data and find out what's happening is crucial to what we do.
Okay, thank you. I will ask you a question later on the record, Mr. Harris, about the National Travel and Tourism Office. Senator Blunt and I lead the Brand USA bill. I'm obviously concerned with what's going on in international travel, what's happening with the Canadian border. They have opened the border, and you can, if you're a Canadian citizen now, you can fly from Canada to the U.S., I guess without a proof of vaccination, but you can't drive to Duluth, and you can't drive from Thunder Bay to Grand Marais, and it's a pretty crazy situation for people that can't afford plane tickets. So look forward to talking with you about the administration's position on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Klobuchar, and again, thank you for your work on the pool safety issue.
Yes.
That's such an important issue.
Thank you.
Really appreciate
Second
it.
hearing. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.